This week we have another breaking weather alert. We're tracking multiple dramatic systems as usual in the Hamptons. We're going to start with Lindsay's pregnancy pectoral front with 100% chance of boob envy. Carl's celibacy system, 1 year of drought conditions with his bright green Shrek clogs, and I see you decided to pay homage to Carl and his clogs today. Jesse's two-faced high-pressure system where he's sweet-talking Lexi while throwing shade with Ciara way like behind her back. Kyle's still playing victim with his let me finish the weather forecast. Kyle's victim complex clouds, still raining tears about Craig's lies. Paige is too busy for Craig, a relationship forecast that's looking real chilly. Visibility this evening is clear enough to see Lindsay's growing assets. So with that, the recommended drink today is an espresso martini because you'll definitely need the alcohol and caffeine to keep up with this week's chaos. So here we go. Let's crack it open. Cheers.
Cheers.
So on this week, we're covering the last two episodes. I'm going to start with Lindsay's gender reveal, which I thought was absolute genius. Despite how I feel about Lindsay, I thought that was super creative. What were your thoughts on the gender reveal? I kind of like want to have another baby now, and just for a gender reveal like that.
All right. As long as we get the same deal where I can live in another apartment like Lindsay's Lindsay's baby daddy. And you could do your thing. No, it was cool. Oh man, my man Carl is going through it. Like, I'm glad he went in it with all enthusiasm and like in good faith, good natured, but gosh, the pride swallowing, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Kind of like I waver between trying to give him props for like being a team sport and trying to go with the flow, but also I can see how uncomfortable he is, where it's at what point do you just stay true to yourself and be authentic, and if you have to step away, just step away from it. So I don't know if
the thing is, Lindsay's eating it up. She likes having the control over people in that way. She's a master at it. So, kudos to her. She won this one again.
I've been trying to do some research to figure out who this Turner guy is. I haven't found much. So if there are anyone that's viewing the podcast right now that has some tea on Turner, I would love to see it. I want to know who he is, what he does.
I get the sense if there's not much out there, we're just going to be disappointed that he's just some good-looking, regular-ass dude that we don't care about.
I mean, she speaks super highly of him. So knowing Lindsay, I don't know if she would, like after Carl, it seems like after every boyfriend, she sort of steps it up a notch. So I feel like this guy is really up there.
Okay. We'll see.
The other relationship that I want to bring up, which is going to spill over into the episode, the most recent one on Thursday, is West and Ciara. So we saw the last two episodes where he's in this space. She's laughing at his jokes. It seems like he's trying to get back into her good graces. I do think that accepting an apology and laughing at someone's jokes are two different things. I'm not convinced that Ciara accepted anybody's apology.
No, she's not that quick to let things go. But, she likes these goofballs. She can't help herself. What'd she call Jesse this last episode?
She was just saying how much they giggle together.
Yeah, and that was the same thing with West. I'm telling you, the prophecy foretold She will get over it. It takes her time, but she will get over it and she will forgive. She won't forget, but she will forgive. And by the end of the episode, they'll be the end of the season, they'll be laughing it up together. Just like I told you.
Jesse and Ciara or Jesse and West?
West and Ciara.
Or all three, all of them.
Oh, well, you're going into Imrul territory right now with that joke. So let's stay out of orgy beast territory.
I wasn't prepared to talk about him yet.
Maybe things are better left unsaid and unseen. Let's use the power of his hat to cover up the Emerald topic, just like he covers up the cameras. Let's make the Emerald topic invisible, like the girls that he brings home, uncaptured by cameras. It's looking like what's that movie, Paranormal Activity, where you never see the fucking ghost, but you know the demon's in there because he'd be these doors be opening and closing, but we don't see the girls.
And you can hear what's happening, and it's so cringe. And especially with my mental condition, where like certain sounds bother me, just like, gross. I don't have enough to really talk about him. I do know that I have this visceral reaction when he's on screen or he's talking. I find him real gross and dirty. So I don't have enough yet. He's just like noise right now.
Hey, what about his upbringing, his immigrant roots?
I don't know enough about it. I just know he was married, got papers, and now he's
whoa,
undocumented.
Listen, he was in love once upon a time. Let's not put that out there. The people getting married for papers. You know?
I thought that's what he said.
No, he said they were in love and they were going to get
Okay.
married anyway. I don't know the statute of limitations. I don't know if they've run out. Actually, in this economy, they don't care about statute of limitations. So
Yes.
the only thing that might save him if he was on those Epstein Island parties.
Oh God. Or the Diddy parties.
The freak offs. No. Let's not put that on Imrul's head. No.
Okay, no.
We're joking, bro. We're joking. Listen, live your best life. I like the motorcycle. I like the motorcycle.
Totally. Maybe episode 6 or 7, I'll have more to say, thoughts on him. But right now, I'm so invested in like the OGs. Danielle is back doing her thing, helping
She looks
Lindsay.
good. She looks good this season. We keep saying it, but she looks good this season.
You know what? Besides the working out and eating better, she just looks happy. She just looks like, although I see her slip up sometimes, like there are certain moments where I see that she's going back to her old ways. For example, like this most recent episode when she's getting at Lindsay for not living with the baby daddy. And she's like, basically telling Lindsay, you shouldn't do this alone. And classic Lindsay is like, he could leave. He's just very dismissive, very like, I don't care if this guy leaves. I'll be able to do it on my own type of thing, which to me is totally a defense mechanism. Yeah. So
are you team Danielle needs to mind her business, or are you I'm team Danielle was always right and you should have listened to her and you make her look crazy because now look what happened to her with Lindsay and Carl. So I don't know. Some people are like, mind your business, but
yes, because you should know Lindsay by now, and Lindsay's going to do what Lindsay wants to do. So before you look crazy, like it's like beating a dead horse. You tell her one time how you feel, but don't keep bringing it up. Just don't do it. And one thing that's starting to bother me is that like, and especially with Gabby too, a lot of these characters are just like elevating Lindsay's storyline versus having one of their own. And I think it took me this episode to really realize that really bothers me, because like I can make fun of Gabby all day long, but I truly want to see her storyline besides like following Lindsay around, being a Carl hater, and coming home at 3 a.m. one night. I want to know more about her. I want to know what she does, how she makes a living, who she's her new endeavors, like her family life. We started to see a little bit of that with Ciara, but then it just focused on her and relationships within the Summer House crew. So I'm glad that Ciara branched off into Traders, where we get to see a little bit more of her outside that setting. But I really hate that Lindsay's friends, her best friends, are just that. And I want to know more about them.
Yeah, I think with Danielle specifically, that's the thing that she probably backed away from. She's probably doesn't want all eyes on her love life right now. Her business is just getting started up. There's a lot on her that she probably just doesn't want as much attention. She just wants to come for a weekend and then bounce.
Right.
So we'll let her do that. But, we'll definitely miss her. But yeah, you're right about Gabby. What's going on with you? I don't know what she does. I don't know. Does she hang out with anybody else? Does she talk with anybody else? Yeah, there's not a lot there so far. And it kind of makes it annoying when she chimes in so much on Lindsay stuff, and it's just what do you got going on? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. What we all know, what Danielle is doing. I want, if she is back on the show, which I'm still not sure. She's been on, is it 3 episodes now? 2 episodes?
3, but the weekends are the weekends are very long. They're spanning multiple episodes, so technically it was just 1 weekend that she was there.
Oh, right. So so she's getting a lot of airtime, and I want to see more of her, and I want to know what she's doing. Honestly, this last episode, Gabby wasn't there. It's sad to say, but I really didn't miss her. It didn't feel like there was the house. If Kyle didn't show up, we would feel it, or Amanda, or even Ciara and Paige, we would feel it. I didn't feel it with Gabby. She wasn't missed, unfortunately. Yeah. So let's go back and talk about Carl. And in this most recent episode, he mentioned how he has been celibate for the last year. And I think West almost fell out of his chair.
He choked.
So now I know that Summer House is all fun and games, but I had an interesting question to pose to you about what do you think his...
trying to get me in trouble right now?
No.
Okay.
I just out of curiosity, because from my view, from the last 3 episodes, I can see that Carl is still dealing with some kind of emotional trauma, whether he's at the last leg of it and he's almost, fully okay. He's still triggered by certain conversations and Lindsay, period. So my question to you is, what does his celibacy reveal about, in general, how men process trauma, and how is that different or viewed on reality TV? Is it, or let me rephrase it. Does reality TV, being on reality TV, force you to process your feelings faster?
Honestly, in Carl's case, I think it's very unique. I don't think I can compare him to just guys on TV or guys in general because of his addictive past. And that's him not being able to deal with these feelings is because for however long he used alcohol and maybe some other stuff to numb these feelings and situations. So yeah, I think now that he's in a place where this is probably the most difficult situation since his brother's passing that he's had to deal with while sober. But in general, as far as dealing with the breakup, I just think him and Lindsay are different people. It's hard to compare Carl and Lindsay because I don't think Lindsay has really processed it because her definition of dealing with it is winning. She went out, found a new boyfriend, is now having a baby. I think Carl is actually handling it normal. And I actually think he's trying to deal with it, and his way of dealing with it is not jumping into something so soon. Does that mean you can't get with nobody in a whole year because of that? Maybe for him it does. And maybe his dealing with it is wearing Shrek Crocs. I can't say that's the way that I would have dealt with something like that. But then again, that's a pretty crazy situation.
Yeah, it's funny because in my notes for Lindsay, for episode 1, I did put performative healing because it just seems very performative. Like I'm on a show. And maybe she does feel like she moves on and she's 100% healed, but I think the way that she grew up and everything, she was just like forced to maybe not deal with things head on and just move on, just move. Like now in last week's episode, we kind of saw a preview of I don't know if I should bring this up now or wait, but I'm kind of dying to talk about it. We saw a preview of Jesse and Ciara sort of like flirting a lot. And then we see it again this episode. I'm having a problem with Jesse, where when he was first introduced to us and he came on Summer House, he was like an angel. He came on very sweet, very down to earth, very respectable, and the cameras definitely changed him. I know this for a fact. This new fame, the new like people recognizing him in the streets, changed him a little bit. And poor Lexi, I feel really terrible.
Okay. Go ahead.
Before you give your thoughts, okay, I have a really big problem with something that he did where she confided in him the morning they wake up together, where she's straight up about her insecurities. Like, I have little boobs. I'm very insecure about it. It didn't sit well with me at the beach where we were talking about boobs. She was very transparent about how that made her feel. And the next thing he does is laugh with Ciara about it. But to her face, he was just like, oh, you know, my intentions are pure, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck, bro? Not cool.
Okay. I gotta disagree a couple things here. One is he was never no angel. Last year, he was talking about I had dinner with this one, then drinks with this other one, and then sex with this other one all in one night. Like he was out there. It just wasn't nobody in the house, and we didn't see it. But now we're seeing his methods. Not to mention him coming on strong to Paige, offering shots at his concave chest. Like, now we got, the thing is, by the end of the season, he buttered us up because we got to know him because of his medical situation. And that's why he's like, I don't want to get serious with anybody because my life is a little bit unstable right now because of his cancer. So that kind of changed everybody's view. But he's coming back this season, the same guy we saw early last season, which is I see something, I take it, and then I see the next thing. So he was who he was when he got here. But the other thing I want to say is, now I will speak for guys, especially in a new situation. Early on in a relationship, 2 things that a woman can do to make a guy lose interest quick is to be jealous and insecure right away and try to change a guy right away. And she already hit and she made him meet her parents. So she's 0 for 3 right there.
But it's his choice to continue it and not cut it off as soon as he felt he's talking shit to everybody about how insecure she is and how much he doesn't like it.
But those are his friends.
And okay. But then why not address those feelings directly to her and say like, hey, I'm feeling some type of way that you are this insecure or this jealous or whatever. That's all good and great if you want to talk to your friends about it. But don't be sitting down in a bed and saying, oh, my intentions are pure, blah, blah. Full of shit. I thought he was had like more of a nice guy.
He did like, for me it was a little too subtle, but he did try to talk to her. Is like, you're doing a little too much. Just you don't need to be jealous or insecure. And of course she was like, I can't help it. You were looking at titties. like he tried to approach it, and I don't think the message landed. She's doing a lot early on, but I agree. He's like not saying the right things. Like, he needs to slow down with what he's saying too, because
Yeah.
I don't know how much he actually means it.
He doesn't mean it at all.
I think he means it some. I don't think he's completely full of shit. I think he's
What part
30,
isn't he?
40% full of shit.
What part isn't he full of shit on? Which part? That
I
he's
do think
attracted to her?
he's
Okay.
really into her, and I do think he wants to be exclusive. The thing is, she's doing all the things early on that takes away from like the early excitement and fun of a relationship, where he's already like, don't talk to your friends like that. I don't like it. I mean, she's not saying it like that, but
Yeah, but she's saying it.
like, does she really think that Jesse wants to go and mess around with Lindsay or with
No.
Amanda?
No, I don't think that she actually thinks that. But I think just the idea of him being so openly like, I mean, and is it flirting, or is it? It's a little bit more than a compliment, but it's like less than flirting. You know what I mean? Like, I can see why
Yeah.
it would make her uncomfortable. Like, he can't flirt with them because, like, Amanda, for example. No, he can't flirt with Amanda because she's married to Kyle. But that's still some sort of flirtatious.
It is, but his personality is the
Douchebag.
sincere like dirtbag charm. Like he's making those comments which are funny because they're a little inappropriate, but they're all said to be funny. Like he's commenting on Amanda's posts, not because like, yes, they're flirtatious, they're dirtbaggish as a joke, while still being like, yeah, you look hot. But the problem is when he does it to Ciara, it's a little different because she's a single girl, and that's when you're like, well, I don't know about that one.
And she's super receptive to it. Like, she can say all she wants. He's like a brother to me. Nah, your brother don't talk to you like that, girl.
That would be weird. And Ciara has shown in the past that she's down on step on some people's toes, because
Yeah.
when her and Lindsay were fighting over Play-Doh face Austin, like she was like, okay, well, I don't care about them two, I'm gonna do my thing.
Wait, what's Play-Doh face?
You saw his face? He is like a Play-Doh face, like it's like a weird like,
I thought you meant the philosopher. I'm like,
oh, Plato face. I don't know, he's probably ugly too, so that's why he was doing all this thinking.
all right. Well, in episode 4, they had a nice dinner, beautiful dinner, in their backyard. And then here is where shit hits the fan, where Paige and Kyle go at it. Are you team Paige or team Kyle?
I'm team Amanda.
She just sat there holding her ears.
Yeah, like I'm like, shut up, people. Kyle, stop crying like a little bitch. We already know that you hate Craig, and you have every right to, because that guy's a douchebag. But Paige, you have nothing to do with that. And Paige, you already know your friends or dating douchebags. So Hannah's a douchebag, Craig is a douchebag. This is gonna happen. You're gonna get some like residual douchebag blowback from that. Gotta deal with it. So yeah, I was team Amanda. Like, shut up, guys. Like, enough's enough.
Yeah, listen. Every whatever. Kyle wants to get mad because Craig took a deal and sort of lied to him and all that stuff. Does Craig doesn't owe him anything. He just knows Kyle through Paige, but like,
It doesn't seem that way. It seems like they
were
had a
best friends.
friendship. Not best friends, but still friendly enough where, and I don't think Kyle, I think we learned the most recent episode, he's not saying that Craig doesn't have a right to go and do those types of deals. It's the way he presented it that,
Yeah, he lied to him. He lied about.
And he's pissed about that.
Well, like I said last time, Kyle is barking up the wrong tree when he went at Paige. Like, he what does he want Paige to do? Like, bring them together, kumbaya or something? Like, Paige can't talk for Craig. And Kyle should never ask Paige to do that. It's like, you have such a big problem. Why don't you rage text Craig? And I'm using rage text because that's what they're saying, right?
But I think, yes, but, and we talked about this on our last pod, what should Kyle do? I think Kyle, the thing is, he's not mad for no reason. Craig lied to him, and Hannah is spreading lies about him. And I think that's what pisses him off more. It's not even like his, you need to, because Paige said, oh, if you're not totally on his side and pledge your allegiance to him, that's not it. But he shouldn't have to stand for people in the media talking shit about him or lying to his face to screw him over. Because at that point, you got to take it personal because you're messing with my business. You're messing with my money to lie to my face.
Yeah, and I get that, but it's still unclear to me. What does he want Paige to do? What does he want her to do?
I guess if somebody who I think is my friend is hearing these things, Paige should reach out to him first. If one of my friends was talking shit about one of my other friends, I tell that person, let's relax. You don't have, let's relax about that. This is more of the Hannah situation than the Craig situation. But the other thing is, if you were about to start competing businesses with one of our friends, I would be like, you should have a conversation with that person because that's going to piss them off and it's going to be super awkward. And maybe she did that. Maybe she didn't. It's really weird. She technically shouldn't be in the middle, but she is in the middle.
Yes, yeah.
But let's be clear, Kyle didn't make it awkward. Her bestie and her boyfriend made it awkward. And so for her to be primarily mad at Kyle, I also don't think is fair. Does she deserve rage text? No, but is Kyle the one you should immediately get mad at for making it hot out here?
Yeah, no, totally. And the thing is too, I think Paige has never really, truly, 1000% loved Kyle. And I think this is just something else for her to say, see, he's a dick. I never liked you anyway. You're still a piece of shit, because if he eventually grew on her and he respected and she respected him, I think she would have that conversation. But I think she's removing herself and being like, well, I don't like him that much for me to go out of my way to talk to my boyfriend about a situation that my boyfriend has with him. So, which I think is messed up because fine, you don't owe Kyle anything. This directly impacts your relationship with Amanda. So at least do it for Amanda.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm Team Amanda.
Yeah. No.
But the other thing is, it's just hard for me because, they always says show me who your friends are, I'll show you who you are, right? Mm-hmm. And as much as I don't necessarily always want to put somebody else's actions on another person, it's kind of hard it's kind of hard that she's surrounded herself with someone who likes to pop off on people on the show that she's not on anymore, but can't stop talking about. A guy who, I don't know, I just think Craig is a douchebag. So and he does douchey things, and then she, what are we supposed to think? To me, it's okay, you're accepting of that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's stay on this Paige and Craig topic. We saw in this most recent episode 5, they're having dinner together, and she keeps saying that she's so busy. She said it earlier this season. She said it multiple seasons ago, how busy she is to basically give Craig what he wants, which is more stability in the relationship, more reassurance and stability. I hate, one, that he's dealing with that bullshit because you've called it for 5 seasons now. She doesn't like him. But when I saw the episode, this most recent one, it was fascinating to see how much she romanticizes New York. She has such romantic feelings for New York City, more than she does for her boyfriend. It was very subtle, but she just romanticizes the city so much. And he'll never live up to the city. Never. She'll never love him as much as she loves New York City. And so this idea where she's like, I can't even find 2 weeks to freeze my eggs. That's not a flex, bro. To me, it's you're a pussy for not breaking. What do you need him for? Why is he here? Now, we know they broke up and they're not together now, but why was he here this whole time?
It's been a couple seasons where we were like, yeah, this is not gonna work. And you know, you and I being from that area and having our own Brooklyn life, you're totally right. When you say that she has this love affair with the city, her life is like straight out of Sex in the City. She's not a columnist, she's a podcaster. She's a fashion commenter. She's on a reality show. Like, it's this love affair with this lifestyle that she's built for herself, which is very impressive from someone who kind of started, I was like, I just want to get married and have kids as soon as possible and live a comfortable life like that, because that's probably where she came from, and she's really close with her family, to now like being like a Carrie Bradshaw in real life. It's admirable, and I just think she needs to not apologize for it anymore. That's what she wants. And I guess what we'll see probably comes to a head is she just needs to come out and be honest. And I think she did this episode, like, I don't want to retire to South Carolina or whatever in the South and just start having kids and being down there. That's not for her. She has bigger ambitions. Now, do I think that you can't have it all? I don't believe that. I think Craig needs to also admit that, like, he's not very flexible in what he wants to. Like, if his end all be all is like, no, you got to move down here. We got to get a house here. We got to live together here, wherever he lives. And we got to start a family here. There's no like, why don't you move up there? Is it because of your business? Why are we only focusing on Paige's business and life and not his?
And that's exactly sort of what his question is in the episode, where he's like, I've never been so submissive. I've never had to give up so much. And I think, again, they're not being honest with each other. This entire time, maybe she was like, not now, in a year, we'll revisit it. We'll revisit it next year. And then the more she blows up with the Giggly Squad and, you know, his restaurants are, or whatever I don't know what his business is. He said
stores. I'm not interested enough in him to learn what they are.
So neither of them are really, you know, compromising. It feels like they're compromising to them, but they're really not. They're compromising their, I don't know, transparency, I guess, but they're not really compromising much.
I guess what I'm reacting to, I've always been like kind of on his side a little bit, in just that if she's promised you something, you do need to hold her to her promises. But now that more is coming out, why is it always, when are you going to be ready to move down south with me and start our life? It's always been that. And maybe she promised too soon that, and the conversation really should have been, we need to reassess the situation, because my career is taking off up here in New York, and I have to be up here in New York, and I really want to be up here in New York. And if he doesn't, maybe that's just the answer, that they're not meant to be.
And I think they were both wishy-washy. He's like, okay, he's opening up his stores, so he's not fully committed yet. But now that he's at least way more stable, it's starting to really like come to light that they're just not compatible.
Or their lives aren't. Now, I don't 100% agree with that. Because again, what I said before is like, you can have it all. You just have to figure out a way to make it work. And where I do go back to what I've said the past couple of seasons, that does she really like him like that, is like when she makes comments like, I'm too busy and my professional life is taking over. He's like, are you going to make time for me? And she takes that as like, he doesn't want her to be successful, versus, hey, you need to also, like, in a relationship, you have to put something in it. Mm-hmm. That just tells me she's not as into him as we may have thought. Because obviously, if you really love someone and you want it all, you make it work and make it happen.
For sure.
That might even mean her focusing on podcasts and her fashion stuff and not doing Summer House anymore. Is that on the table? I don't know. You start to prioritize, and she's not prioritizing him. That's fine, but you got to be honest about it.
Yeah, 1,000%. Anything that I missed from the last two episodes?
So Bailey didn't come back this episode, and we'll see if she ends up coming back at all, or maybe just making a few cameos. But is this the fastest we ever saw somebody like dip?
Yeah.
Like it's record timing. Like she lasted 1.5 eps. So, maybe we'll play the boys to men here. It's so hard to say goodbye.
But I don't know if she was ever supposed to be like a full cast member, or she just came as a friend of a friend.
Yeah, she didn't latch on to one of the guys quickly enough.
But she had a boyfriend.
Okay, well he's not on the show, so.
Oh, true.
West. They gave us a little more insight into what West's last year has been like, which has been nuts. It seems like he's blowing up, and I'm happy for him. And he's the house's jokester, but as far as his personal love life, he's being cagey about that. What do you think that's about? Do you think there's nothing going on, or do you think he's learned his lesson?
I think he learned his lesson. I think he's certainly dabbling. And I do want to give him MVP status for the last two episodes because he has shown some level of maturity that I didn't think existed in Summer House. He's being very considerate. Like, if I hook up with somebody, I'm not going to do it at home. I'm not going to bring them back. And he's just not even trying to protect Ciara from feelings. I think he's just showing respect. Like, why am I going to hurt her even more? There's no point in doing that. And so I want to give him some MVP coins for that. I thought that was very respectable. And it sucks that it has to, that should be common sense to everybody. And it's like, why am I giving him kudos when that should just be the norm? But we all know how Summer House goes, and consideration is not a thing.
Yeah, but I gotta take some of those MVP coins away, just a few, because he did leave without Danielle, who wanted to go. He just went ahead from everybody, probably trying to do his own thing for a little bit. Nah, you gotta stick with the crew. Don't abandon the crew. That's not cool. So come on, Wes, learn from that. But I think there's a little bit more to the secretiveness, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, he's definitely dabbling. He has either a someone or multiple someones. But he's a little guarded, I feel like. Maybe he's guarding his reputation just after the Ciara thing sort of blew up. Or that's just who he is. And it's really not much to it.
Okay. Do you think him and Haktua have a future?
Nah.
She don't even have a future. That was 15 minutes are done. Go back to regular fellatio.
Oh my God.
So I do want to address something you said earlier in the pod, which I think is a big double standard. If, let's take last season, Ciara and West were dating, everything that happened there, Ciara 100% will go back and tell Paige, no matter what. Is that
Yes, but the difference is and talk about Jesse?
Yes, I'm talking about why Jesse can't go to his friends and say what's going on.
The problem is he's not going to seek advice or seek frustration.
Of course he is.
He is flirting. He's using that as a vehicle to get to Ciara and to flirt with her. She doesn't, the boobs. And then Ciara's
what if he meant to do that? And then all of a sudden it's wow, Ciara, you're such a great listener. And I never,
But that's not what we saw. That's not what we saw. It's not a double standard. But what about him
going to tell Danielle and Amanda?
The thing is, he's not saying how he feels about it. He's saying it, mocking her, laughing when everybody else is laughing. And he's not.
And the girls never talk shit about the dudes. They don't mock the dudes when they go out and when they go in KiKi.
There's not a double standard because the girls are not flirting though. They're not flirting.
I took that out of. I'm not talking about Ciara now. I'm talking about when he goes and tells Danielle or Amanda, or when he's on the car ride talking about the situation with them driving to the house.
I think that's fine. But I'm talking about this specific conversation that he had with Lexi, where it was more like a pillow talk. It was more of her showing a little bit of vulnerability that he's now using in a very disgusting way.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what the outcome of that is. I'm still like unsure what the double standard is. We don't know. They could be setting us up. They could be setting us up saying there's something more there, or it could just be Lexi, like, you know, seeing things. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. So who is your MVP this episode?
I gotta say Lindsay. I mean, did you see it? No, like, I'm just joking. Listen, you know what? I'll give it to Paige for this most recent episode. She handled it well with Kyle. She's, you know, after she got pissed over the rage text, she got over that. She listened to Kyle. She made it all good again. She made him feel good again. And then she had that conversation with Craig, and which was interesting to me. So I give it to Paige.
Okay. Lindsay was my runner-up. But like I said,
why? Tell me why.
Because she is very cheerful and like just different this season.
Are you trying to call her jolly because of the belly now?
No, I think she's just funny. She's just funny. She just, you know, I don't know. She was just a runner-up because it's Lindsay, right? And she's not really getting on my nerves yet. So
I thought
MVP.
After the way you talked about Amanda last podcast, I thought you were about to talk about Lindsay the same way.
Nah, I'm over it.
Okay.
So on that note, I'm excited for next episode because it looks like Jesse and Ciara are going to take it to the next level. But wait, before we end, what are your thoughts on Jesse's comment about him being an ass man? Like that's supposed to make her feel any better.
Don't worry, I'm going to be looking at other girls' asses, not breasts. Come on. First of all.
Yeah. All right, bye.
Bye.